Good evening, everyone. My mic is now on, so we can proceed. It is 6:30, Tuesday, July 25th. We're at City of Meadows Place City Hall in the council chambers for a Meadows Place City Council regular agenda meeting. I hereby call this meeting to order. We have a full complement of council, so we will we have a quorum then. So we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. And I'm going to let one of you people lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Who wants to do it? You do. What's your name? Nick. You do it. Yes. Everybody stand up and join. Let Nick lead us, and then remain standing as Jimmy leads us in the invocation.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. We thank you, Lord, for the city of Meadows, for all those who are a part of the city, for the residents, for the staff, for the volunteers, first responders, all those who make such an amazing. God, we thank you for this time that we are able to gather, not only to look at the city business, but to recognize all that's happening. We thank you for our lifeguards, for all that they do, and quietly serving all the time. Whatever they're called, they're here. Thank you for that. We ask that you bless this meeting, that you are in the center of all the discussions that happen, that you can continue to bless the city of Meadows Place.
Amen. All right. I want to move on down to the podium as we move into recognition of Meadows Place lifeguards. We're going to recognize these lifeguards for saving the life of a 3-year-old child, City of Meadows Place, back in June. Pardon me. Tanner, can you come up and pull this I'm going to recognize them. Not first, because they're not here. They should be. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a little bit of a special event for me because about 15, 16 years ago, I lost a child up at that pool. He drowned. And he was about that color when we pulled him out. Those lifeguards went to work, followed their training, sprung into action, got 911 called, and they brought my kid back to life. So it was a save, a Meadows Place pool. And I've taken the chore of lifeguarding very, very seriously since. I recognize that a lot of people don't, but our staff, our parks directors, our pool personnel do take it seriously. And I think the results of this save show that our lifeguards take it seriously. So we are here tonight to recognize these folks. And so I'm going to ask you I'm going to read one off, and then I'm going to ask you to step up here. We're going to take a picture of you individually, but when I call your name, you'll come up. I'm going to shake your hand because I want to, and I get to because that's one of the perks, is get to shake hands with heroes. Then I'm going to ask you to stand right here, and council's going to. I thought it was on. Oh, I probably bumped it. Sorry. Well, I think we got enough of it. Thereby earning the respect and admiration for the city of Meadows Place and our residents, I want to acknowledge and present this life-saving award to Greg Torrey. Got it? Jimmy Valley. Jimmy Valley. Vollier. My apologies, Jimmy. Vollier. Okay. You would. And for pool supervisor, I've heard this name. Tanner Cabezas. Tanner. Tanner, I do have a question. Why don't you come up and tell us what happened and what involved the process to get 911 and called, et cetera?
So how we're trained is once there's 2 long whistles, that means emergency action plans. That means the police need to be called. So Greg, he did the 2 long whistles. That notified the front desk to call 911, and then they responded accordingly.
So y'all have a process in place?
Yes, sir.
You have a plan and you followed it.
Yes, sir.
And with that, we end up saving lives.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations again, Tim. Council?
Thank y'all.
All the folks in Antarctica. We're proud to recognize our flag. And going. Atticus Weber, Martin, Charles Hughes. Y'all can go now. Let's give them a big round of applause. That's a pretty significant event for a little 1 square mile city. And I'm pleased as peaches. Item moves on to item C. Police Department will report first. Police Chief Gary Stewart will give the Police Department a report. Gary?
Good evening again, Mayor, Council. To start out with the usual, our number of accidents, we had 11. Number of arrests, 8. 2,401 calls for service, 57 reports. 388 on traffic with 966 traffic charges. COV, city ordinance violation, we had 1 citation issued. Warnings for traffic, 120 with 190 charges. And warnings for city ordinance violation, 1 with a total activity count of 3,635. This past month, we had 0 assaults. We had 2 burglary motor vehicle, 0 burglary business or residential burglaries. 4 the city ordinance with 0 criminal mischief, 2 frauds, 0 robberies. For our total property checks, we had 1,765. Thefts, we had 6, 1 UUMV. On the TLC program, we had 27 pass with 5 failures and 32 contacts. As you can see down below, the breakdown for city ordinance violation, we did issue a warning for fireworks. We did not on-view that, or it would have been a citation. However, they admitted to us, so we were able to do a warning. We had 3 for solicitor, and all left the area as approached by the police department. Citations that for solicitors was 1, and 0 of the accidents were in the roundabouts, were damaged that we could determine. Other accidents are in various locations, 4 in private parking lot, backing out of driveways, etc. Moving on to the chief's notes, would take us to, as usual, take it to page 4 to start out. The previous stuff, as usual, is just the information regarding those calls for service. Looking at flock safety hits, you can see that we had a total of 50. That was up from the previous month by 3. We had 8 for stolen vehicle. We had 11 for sex offender. We had 8 for stolen plates, 2 for gang or suspected terrorist, 3 missing person, 0 warrants, 4 for protective order, 14 for agency hot list, and 0 for violent persons. Going to arrests, on the next page, you can see we had for evading and possession of a fraudulent identification, possession of a controlled substance, warrants out of other jurisdiction times 2, possession of a controlled substance and warrant other jurisdiction 1, fraud 1, UCW, unauthorized carrying a weapon and paraphernalia 1, and 1 failed to register sex offender 1. Moving on to notes, which will be the last page, 8. As usual, I mention this each month, but right now we're trying to continue to close out our current training cycle that goes on 2-year cycles. We've been hosting a lot of classes. This last one we're hosting currently is our instructor's course, which is a 40-hour course. We have officers in it, but we're also teaching officers from Missouri City, and it's hosted, and we're working with Stafford Fire Marshal's office as well. On flock, I know there's been some questions about our flock cameras, and we are still working to ensure they're all working properly, because there are some that have 0 hits, and we are still working with flock to determine if there's a software error on those 2 or 3 cameras. On our new officer, Caitlin Chan, she is doing well. She is in the training program, and she's really doing well. We're excited to see somebody who's thrilled about coming into law enforcement, has never been involved in it, has family been involved in it, but it's kind of nice to see. Officer Manna, who worked here previously and we rehired recently to full-time, is doing his tour of duty, never missed a beat. Mesa door access is in its final stages. They should be out here Wednesday afternoon to complete the punch list that we have, and then they'll follow up with some software training. 4th of July, as most of y'all were there, it was probably one of the largest ones we've ever had. It was a lot of people, and it turned out really well. Out of that, we had 1 child that was lost, which we recovered within less than a minute. And that was the only problem we had, so that was a great night. Grant status, as you can see there, we're still, radio grant is approved for the $52,000. Dispatch console is in review still, and so is the portable radios. Other than that, that is my notes, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Chief, I want to jump up here and see if I can find it. On page 5, there's a fraud listed.
Yes, sir.
They filled out paperwork, purchased a vehicle using an out-of-state driver's license that was not here. Falsely identified themselves to officers during the investigation. What prompted the investigation?
So we get a call that suspected that they were doing fraud to purchase a vehicle at Helfman Ford. So we make location and make the determination what they're doing. When they give us fraudulent information and we can clear that, then we're gonna arrest them.
So they got to stay down at Fort Bend County Jail.
Yes, sir.
Jack always smiles when he says that.
We had several, as you can see, pretty serious arrests, the paraphernalia and the carrying of weapons, but we did the fraud. So sometimes the fraud, and we've worked with Helfman before and the other Carler dealership, the Nissan dealership, when they have suspicious activity like that where they believe there's fraud, they call us in, and we're able to work those cases right there.
Well, I was just sitting there thinking the reason I wanted to bring it up, it's not too far from here to there. I imagine if they call you, they're feeling like y'all going to be over there pretty quickly, and I suspect we are. I would think that would encourage them to call y'all and take care of that business rather than try to figure it out themselves. Is that a true statement?
It's easier for us to work through a case when we have the people right there rather than doing it after the fact. Helfman has learned that, and they're pretty good about calling us while the suspect is still on location. And that's made it easier for us to apprehend and make arrests immediately rather than having to go through an investigative process.
Right. Don't you know they're going, where's Meadows' place and why am I being arrested? I love it. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Counsel, anybody got anything for the Chief?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You bet.
All right. Item number 2, round reports is Public Works. Rod, our Public Works Director, has handed in a quarterly report for council.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This quarterly report is the second one of the year, and it covers the period of April, May, and June of 2023. We'll start out with the sidewalk repair and replacement program. I've almost used up all of the $70,000. We're at 94% of the budget. I have about 13, 15 locations that have been called in. I'm going to find some money to get them done before the end of the year. So I will be moving some money from my regular street budget over to sidewalks to cover that. Street repairs, we've only got $63,000 left for the last quarter. That'll give me 2 reasonably sized panel repairs in the last quarter. Currently working on Brighton. I'm sure you've seen some of the big potholes we had down there. We're spending about $46,000 on those repairs on that section. USW expenses for April, May, and June of 2023, $47,000, $51,000, $45,000. Nothing out of the ordinary. We've been extremely lucky with the number of water line repairs. They have not increased, and so we're doing okay in our budget. The annual water deposit maintenance is at 94%. The reason it's up there is because I have about a $30,000 charge for a booster pump for, I think it's booster number 1 and well 1 location. It went through the maintenance, and I think there's a budget amendment in tonight's council that will bring my 94% down to closer to the 75 where it should be. Annual sewer department budget, we're at 70%. We're spot on. Other repairs that we've done with USW and outside vendors. Well number 1 is back online. Any questions about well number 1?
Is it back online?
Back online.
All right. That's all 3 of them then.
All 3 of them. All 3 are working. Item number 2, gateway at well number 2 is damaged. I included a picture, and you can see where the lightning has struck it. We just happened to have one on the shelf because we bought 3 or 4 a couple of years ago and had it installed, and so we're back up online with all gateways within the city.
If I could, I'd like to interrupt you, Rod. That was a little too casual sounding for me. Rod we'd had some issues some years back about losing the gateway and getting the time it takes to get here. It causes issues when it comes to reading water bills, etc. So when we got that, we put one of those on the shelf, and I watched that report almost every single day when I turned on and checked that water, and it would say 4, 1 inactive, or 1 not hooked up. So when this one went kablooey, we were able to immediately take one over, get it up, and get it running. And I just want to attribute that to good planning and having that stuff ready to work, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I've reached out to the Badger representative, and he's supposed to be getting me a price for another one that I can put back on the shelf.
Good.
I anticipate that'll be $4,000 or $5,000. Generators. Good news is that the EOC generator, the 80 kW, is actually been put in place. The 350 kW for well 3 is ready to be put in place. There's nothing on the wastewater treatment plant. That's the 500 kW. Back to the well 3, plant well 3, we have got a tentative schedule with WPI and Centerpoint for August the 1st. If August the 1st is when Centerpoint can shut the power off, we will do the transfer to a standby generator which will run the water well and run the plant and run the EOC while we install the new 80 kW and the 350 kW for the well 3. So there should be no interruption. The EOC will take about a day, but the larger one, it can take as much as 3 days to get it programmed from wherever their service tech has to come from. If he's available, it'll be 3 days. It might be as much as 2 weeks. But the entire time, I will keep the standby generator in location. Any questions about that?
Keep your fingers crossed.
Yep, I believe we're still about 6 months out on the large one. We had anticipated 22, 24, 26 weeks, and we're right about that point right now. But we've been told that the larger ones are taking up to a year to be delivered. Item 4, HDR is still on schedule with the Clarifier Bridge Assembly. And we actually had a pre-construction meeting this morning at a wastewater treatment plant. I was given the good news that there was 40 sets of plans picked up, but don't get too excited. A lot of that would have been for vendors, suppliers, and that sort of stuff. There were 8 general contractors that actually picked up plans. At least one of them showed up for the non-binding or non-mandatory meeting this morning. Had some good questions, and we walked the plant. And we've asked them to have their questions back into us by the 28th so we can proceed with the bidding. I got a good feeling. It's good.
So they've got to have the bid.
I believe the schedule was August the 15th for bid, and we'll bring it back to council on August the 28th for award.
You have bid opening August 8th.
Is it 8th? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we can start to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, we should have a bid tab from, or not a bid tab, but we should have a recommendation from HDR in time for the August council meeting, so we could possibly select a contractor at that meeting.
It may be delayed by our agreement with the county.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So, I mean, we'll get the bid opening. We'll know what the amount is. We can start the paperwork, get them to start submitting their insurance and everything else to get set up. We can even take the action to authorize the staff and the mayor to sign. We just can't actually sign the agreement until we get the agreement passed through both
Actually,
entities.
those bids are good for, I think, 60 days typically. So,
Usually.
yeah, we'll have a little bit of time.
Just a reminder that a lot of the material that's going to go into this new clarifier work is as much as a year lead time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blowers at a wastewater treatment plant. I'm sure you've seen one sticking out the door, but I'll give you a little summary of what's going on. We have 4 blower motors and blower assemblies. Blower number 1 has been inoperative for quite some time, and just waiting for the right time to put it back into my budget so I can not exceed it. So we had 2, 3, and 4 that were operating, and we pull service on these on a regular basis. But blower number 2 was damaged by the operator. And the silly thing he did was he just turned it on and had it deadheaded with closed valves. And so that repair is going to be at their expense. Okay?
Still going to take us 6 weeks.
We're still 6 weeks out on that. Blower number 3, the motor is working, but the blower is damaged. I do not have a schedule on that. That is where the temporary unit is in place. Because with 1, 2, and 3 being damaged, that only leaves me number 4, and I have to have 2 running at all times. So that's why I've got the temporary one stuck outside the door. Number 4, the motor and blower is working. And I'll back up to number 3. We'd actually pulled service on it 3 weeks before it failed, and it just came unglued. So we're trying to be proactive, and when these things decide to go, they decide to go. EMS building. There was an issue with their security system and the new door that we placed on, and they had actually gone in. We couldn't do the work because it was their security system, and they rewired their door back into their security system. And one of the things that happened was I lost my access to the building because the key was removed from the lockbox. But since then, I've been working with Miss Rita from EMS, and I'm supposed to pick up a key before the end of the week. Got that resolved. Fire station air conditioning. Good.
EMS, it says Stafford. Do we mean county?
County, sorry. Pardon me.
I was confused.
Obviously, I am. Air conditioning at the fire station. We paid for a brand new system, $33,000 or $35,000, and got a complaint that the unit wasn't keeping up. There's a couple of things in play. One thing is that we'd installed some door sweeps at their request, and after we installed the door sweeps, they put a mat in front of the door, and what happened one night, it got jammed and the door stayed open, and so by the time they came back, the building was at 95 degrees. But going over there about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you get the feeling that the air conditioner is just not quite working properly. So what did we do to change things? We had actually done the heat load calculations, and it was needed a 4.72 ton air conditioner. We put in a 5. Should be fine. It was engineered. What we did was we took maybe a 30-year-old, 20-year-old air conditioning unit out of the attic space, which was probably leaking, which meant that attic space was being conditioned to a degree, and we put the air conditioner on ground level. The building is a metal frame building. There's attic space with a drop ceiling and bad insulation laid over the drop ceiling. There's no ventilation or no possibility of venting that attic. So the solution I've come up with is I'm going to put some spray-on insulation and do the whole attic space to cover that. Put it back to where it was. I think that will solve the problem. That was a difficult one because it just didn't make any sense having a new air conditioning, having it break on us and not doing what it's supposed to. That'll be about 3 weeks out, and I'll have to arrange with the fire chief because you can't be in the building for 24 hours after that insulation is sprayed because of the fumes that it gives off. Item 8, EOC mini-split air conditioner we repaired in the last 3 months. Nature Center has an air conditioner that's been repaired. I will probably put that on the schedule first of next year to be replaced. The EMS air conditioner was also repaired. They got 3 units. There's 3 units. I will be looking at that probably a year after to replace the whole 3 units with one new one. We purchased a new ice machine for the fire department. Couldn't keep the old one running. It's supposed to produce 500 pounds a day. I think we purchased one that's got half of that capacity. You don't need it. We painted the parking lot strap City Hall. And I don't know if anybody noticed that the wastewater treatment plant, we had a couple of 18-wheelers from MagnaFlow out there. The return-activated sludge line was clogged, and when we cleared it, we got hit with a really large batch of septic sludge, and so we had to waste it. And when we tried to waste it and put it into our dumpsters, via our own belt press. The belt press said they don't want to go to work today, so I've had someone look at that and give me a list of things to get that fixed. We use MagnaFlow to pump the 18-wheeler boxes out for about 4 days, and we've got that under control again. Any other questions?
Not for me.
If that's all, that's
How
all I
about
have.
irrigation systems review and update? Give me a rundown.
The irrigation system, we do a report on that on every month. And Ricky, with the irrigation company, goes through each cycle of every unit on every park. And if you go through it, you'll see the red ones are what he's indicating needs to be repaired this month.
So as I'm going through here, I see nothing down except, I don't know what this NW stands for. Is that not working?
Yes.
On page 2 or whatever it is. So we got 2 zones not working up there.
Yep. On the irrigation also, I've reached out to Rainbird, and I'm trying to get information on a new filtration system for the lake pump so that I can further filter the water that's going through the irrigation system, because with McGrath Park, that's the majority of the issues that we have is the slime from the pond coming through and getting into the irrigation system. Yeah. So I'm looking into an additional filtration system through Rainbird.
We can't be the only person having this issue.
Pardon?
I can't believe we're the only person with this issue. Okay. All right. Council, any questions for Rod?
Just to follow up on the agreement with the county, it was submitted on June 27th. It was not actually assigned to an attorney until July 17th. The commissioner's office has been pushing the county attorney's office weekly, and so hopefully they'll actually prioritize it now.
I don't suspect there's a whole lot we can do about it one way or the other. I'm glad they're trying. All right. Ron, thank you so much.
I'll give you one more thing that I'm working with Cameron on, and it's a summary of the water well repairs that we've done. We've repaired 1, 2, and 3, and we started with number 3, and I think the cost of that was like $132,000. Replaced the pump, but we used all of the existing plumbing, the pipe and the drive shaft that was existing. Well 2, we had to replace the casing, and the smaller casing, and we replaced the turbine pump with submersible, and so it was about $315,000. On well 1, not only did we have to replace the pump, but we had to replace all the column pipe and all the drill shaft because it was just too rusty to put back into service, and so that's why we're spending $320,000 or $30,000 and the difference. Does that make sense, folks? So I guess again, 1, 2, and 3 have been repaired. Number 2 will go back into in 7 years. Number 3 will go in 10, 11 years. Number 1 may go in 11, 12 years.
11 and 12. I may not be here.
Right.
Okay.
Rod, we should also mention that we've been waiting for well 1 and 2 to get back online before we start working on the generators for well 3. And
yes,
the
that was. I actually had to stop them installing the 350 kW at well 3 because EOC can't go down for that amount of time. So we've backed off, and they understand, and that's why the schedule is tentatively set for August the 1st. And we will have a standby generator up and running before we do any of the work. Okay? Should be no interruption.
Very good.
Thank you.
I'm tickled to feel like the confidence that we have in our water system right now. That's outstanding. All right, item number 3 is Fire Department monthly report for June of 2023. We have a meeting tomorrow with the fire department, EMS, about how we can work together and make sure everything's okay, so we're not having to break into our own building and things like that. So that's the fire report. And I'm moving on now to city administrator's report. Nick?
Mayor, we're going to be seeing a lot of each other over the next 4 weeks, so I'm going to defer my report tonight. All is well.
All is well. We ought to write a song like that. Okay. Moving on to mayor's comments. Communication. Right before we had this city council meeting, we had a workshop with our communication director on all of council. I had a meeting last Saturday with my son, who does a lot in communication for a company called Slalom. So I'm trying to bring myself up to modern communication standards, which I'm still not sure I like, but I'm having to acknowledge that we have to stay in front of it and communicate, because that's what the people who live here in the city of Meadows Place expect. And my mantra has been for a lot of years, let's try to raise our standards. That's all I'm trying to do. And I want to say the council is sitting here tonight just over a year ago, about a year and a month ago, decided it was worth an investment in a communications director. The results that came out of the workshop tonight show that that has been a fruitful effort. And I would say that with the exception of myself, everybody else followed it right along. And we're excited about what we're going to be putting out for the residents. We're going to be getting feedback and opening up lines of communications through the PD Facebook page, our Facebook page, et cetera, to get feedback from the residents, to ask them to keep us abreast of things, and to be sure and put things out like this water well information, new car information, new police information, new capital project information, how much of that project is coming along, whether we're at 33% was the example that Cameron showed us tonight, and where did that funding come from? Because as we learned in the budget reviews, that a lot of the stuff that gets spent in the city is not necessarily from our tax revenue. It's not from our general fund. Sometimes it's from our Economic Development Corporation, which has a very limited focus on what they can spend on, but we spend it, frankly, I think we spend it wisely. Rick's talking earlier about mobility bond projects. We've got some things that took place in the city and are taking place right now, like the resurfacing of the tennis courts, that, again, taxpayers aren't funding directly. That's coming from a Fort Bend mobility bond project. And we're going to be able to have a park bond. What did I say? Mobility park bond. Thank you. We're going to have the ability to communicate that to our residents on an ongoing basis. And I am assured that there are people in the city that will be of interest and will look. So I'm excited that, and we're trying like crazy to increase our level of and competency in communication. I think we've done a great job in improvement in the last year with the advent of Cameron Miller coming on board and working so hard. So thank you, Cameron. Thank you, Counselor, for spending money. That hasn't always been a priority. So thank you. Item B, staff training. We've got a budget, line item budget in almost every department for staff training. In every department, is responsible for their own staff training. We had our permits clerk take a week off and go to, what was she, Dallas? Oh, that's just as bad. Up in Austin for a week going to courts training. So now when we have, because we're perfectly staffed at this city, as long as nobody goes to the bathroom or on vacation. So when we get busy, when somebody happens to be taken up in another area, we now have cross-training in our court section to be able to move that process through. So as we get more and more efficient, we're getting more professional in every department, not just courts. We also have cross-training, or have training in parks departments. They send people out and for various things. And we now come up with certificate pay for those that are trained in something relevant to the department and to the city. So it's not wasted money. But I think this is a focus that your council has put on the staff, and I think the staff is responding very well. I think we have one little training episode, and I'm assuming that everybody has seen this. If you haven't, everybody get where, all you visitors get where you can see a screen, please. And this is, in case you didn't know, our taser training. Both the police officers are grinning also. I just want to let you know that. We've learned that our communications director has outstanding edit skills. But people don't think about being trained in that regard. If you're going to be trained, if you're going to be carrying a taser in Meadows Place, Texas, and I don't know if that's state law or not, but you do in Meadows Place, you have to go through and get tased so you know what you're getting ready to put on somebody. And also you can count on it because she went down. And most people will go down. Not everybody, but most people will. So I just wanted to say that I think we're doing a good job on training, and I'm going to ask all the departments next month to make sure that we're maximized our training efforts before the end of the year. So those that are here, please be aware. And I want to just compliment us on doing that, Courtney. You've got some training coming up. Some of your staff has training coming up, and let's never hesitate to send out or get people issued the right training. Okay. And with that, we'll move on to council comments. I think both of these are Rick.
Unfortunately, we're not done with Dorrance yet. The contractor still has not submitted his final paperwork to get his last payment. I don't know what the issue is. He's due $100,000 and change, and if I was owed that much money, I'd do the final paperwork. Any questions?
Yeah, if we take it off, do we still have to pay him?
And I believe Nick can tell us that we did submit Dorrance Phase 3 to the county for consideration on the 2023 county mobility bond. So hopefully we can get that funded.
Can I ask what did we submit? What was Phase 3?
It was the same thing we had talked about at the last council meeting. So we had talked about from Kirkwood west toward, I think, Amblewood.
Amblewood, okay.
The cost of roughly $3 million. And then we said, if need be, we can obviously break that up as we did in Phase 1 and 2. I know that Andrew with the Commissioner's Office has been speaking with the engineering department. I hear the county has a fairly okay engineering department. And so No, they got they got a hold of me, and we confirmed the numbers. Andrew was copied on the email. Andrew confirmed the numbers as well, so the three of us talked. So we feel good about making sure that everybody has the right numbers and the scope of the project. So now we just wait to see from here what gets on the ballot.
Well, thank you.
Council, as y'all know, that's rolling the dice and just hoping a prayer. Mobility bond project.
The bikeway project, still in process. They've got the bore information now, probably working on final design. We will probably do a change order for some additional surveying. By now, everyone has seen the center point poles laying along West Airport. Those will be placed in the way of some of our proposed sidewalk. And so the sidewalk will have to be designed to go around the poles. In order to do that, you need to know where the poles are at. We can't tell Centerpoint where to put the poles because they have probably at least a 6 to 8 foot foundation, and there's utilities in those locations. So they're kind of limited in where they can go, and the sidewalk can snake around the poles. Where we were planning sidewalk in front of the gas station down on Derry Ashford, we may have to eliminate some of that based on where those poles are located, unless we want to get right away. And I don't think any of us are interested in going and purchasing right away.
Nope.
So what I'm thinking is we'll get the engineers to talk to the gas station owner about from the signal, the ramp at the signal, putting a sidewalk directly into his parking lot. That way the people from the new section can get over to the gas station. And then the same thing from, I can't remember what's the street west of Blair Meadow where that sidewalk terminates. Get a connection from the main city to the east part of the strip center, and then the people can walk in the parking lot from there. I think from there we've gotten people to the pedestrian attractor and provided as much as we can for now. So, any questions?
Does that throw off anything else like the bridge or the parking lot?
No, that is all dependent on getting final approval from Centerpoint. And so there's really no difference in the timeline.
Okay.
You're still a ways off, Charlie.
As long as it hadn't gone away, and the chief still likes me, then I'll be okay. He wants a parking lot over there. All right, is that it, Rick? Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Item number 8, we'll move on to regular agenda and council. If you don't mind, I would like to take item number 13 and move it up to item 1. It's simply a discussion regarding volunteerism in the city of Meadows Place. And I'd like to do that before I lose my voice and go to fall asleep. So would that, anybody have objections to me moving up item 13 to 1? All right. I want to talk about volunteerism. Volunteerism doesn't happen by accident. Volunteerism in its best form is a culture. And I am glad to say that the volunteerism culture is alive, well, and strong in the city of Meadows Place. I think you all know that. An example of it, for all you people in the audience, sits before you as members of this council. Council, I want to thank you for serving. You represent the highest level of volunteerism in this city and in this community. So on behalf of myself, my family, and all the folks who live here in Meadows Place, I want to say thank you. That said, I also want to say thank you to the members of our Board of Adjustment, David Pwanka, Chris Gollick, Terry Henley, Joe DeBruin, and David Lance. Alternates, Joseph Wyman, Aubrey St. Germain, Ken Smith, and Ping Law. Those folks are volunteering out of our community to serve. I also want to recognize our planning and zoning commissioners, Sean Ulrey, Matt Altamari, Mike Elmore, Meredith Smith, Stuart Berriman, and alternates Sammy Kemp, Ann Green, and Nathan Mahan. The group that meets most regularly is our Economic Development Corporation, who might just have a new logo here pretty quick. They're designed to attract financially secure businesses to our city and to add to the city's property tax base and generate sales tax revenue that can be used in very specific value-added benefits to the city. And I think they've done a good job of that. And I think you can turn that around by all the businesses that have been coming in. This group consists of President Bob Graff, Tim Gooding, Terry Henley, Kurt Kopczynski, Brian Frame, Richard Ramirez, and Councilperson Tia Baker. That's an outstanding group of people for sure. But I don't want to forget the myriad of folks who make a huge difference by serving on the baseball and swim team boards, all those who volunteer as coaches, team moms, judges, timers, concession stand servers, and those who volunteer to throw parties for our residents over in Meadows Senior Village, or spend time helping out in our schools, or at the East Fort Bend Human Needs Ministry, the food pantry. Hats off to all these great volunteers. I want to recognize them. They're the ones who make sure that Meadows Place can truly be your place for life and be a place people are proud to be. Council, I'm bringing this up to you because it's either in your nature or you had a desire for whatever reason to serve. These people have, and there's a lot of people out there that have a desire and they're a little bit afraid to because nobody's asked them. They're not sure if they'd be welcomed or if they'd be wanted. I want it to go on record that we want volunteers. We want people to step up. We've got people, men in the garden out there with kids all through the year because she stepped up. I'm asking you, Council, and y'all's circle of influence is broad and far-reaching. Remind people that there's a spot for them. Invite them. I've had folks come in and say, hey, I really didn't know what to do. David Mertens is a good example of that. I'd like to get involved. I got a job for you. So please, when you're talking to somebody, think about it. Jimmy volunteers to come up here and lead our invocation. There's all kinds of jobs, some of them quite demanding, some of them not so much. But someplace, there's a place. And let's face it, if those folks are involved in our community, it'll make us a better community. We'll be able to, if we communicate properly, even prosper as a city in every way better than what we're doing right now. So please, thank you all very much. Thank you for allowing me to move that up. And Council, do you have anything to say on volunteerism? This is a discussion item.
No, I would say thank you for those kind words. And I agree with you. I think I know for me, been looking for people. I think people want to help. They just don't know where to start. And so I think just kind of reaching out and saying, hey, I think you would be great for this. Sometimes that, goes a long way to just open the idea to the person that,
That's it. Yep.
It's possible.
All right, Tia. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Going once, twice, moving on to item 1. Discussion and consideration of the signed ordinance and changes. We have in our packets a really hotshot signed ordinance with definitions and everything. I'm going to turn this over at this point to Nick, if you have anything. Otherwise, I'm just going to point it right to Megan. All right, Megan?
I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me this evening. We went ahead and took the feedback that y'all gave last time I was here, maybe I think in May, and restructured the proposed draft. So what you see looks different And the reason why we chose to restructure it is that we had talked about making a more comprehensive definition section. And in making that more comprehensive definition section, it made sense to pull all sign types together into its own section as well. So that way it makes it easier for staff to utilize and also easier for citizens to utilize when looking up sign regs for the city. So you'll see that there's 3 parts. I call one the body. The other one is definitions, and then the other one is sign types. So we went ahead and we did that and fleshed it out. Made a few small other changes that we had discussed, but I'm really here to invite any additional feedback that you have, any questions, anything that you'd like to see that you don't see, anything you don't want to see in there that's in there.
Anybody have anything? Did anybody look at it? Have we gone through it?
Yeah. The only comment I had was on page 13.
Mm-hmm.
Where's your speaker?
The one I have is starts on page 12 of 32, and it has public service signs off premise and area limitations. I think we probably need to make that instead of 8, maybe go to 12 feet there. There's a 12-foot square foot sign for the pet event going on this weekend at the entrance coming off Derry Ashford. I think it's 6 feet wide, 2 feet tall. That's probably pretty reasonable. It looks like a nice banner. And that would be, I think, under that category of public service off premise. So just give us a little more latitude on that one.
So 12.
I think, I don't know, I'll ask for comment. It's not that big a deal. I noticed today we're already in that size. And it's for somebody driving by.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. That's number 11 under types of signs. By the way, I like the way this is organized. It was much easier to read through and much more comprehensive. It's really, you took a stack of 4 inches and put it down to 32 pages, so thank you.
Well, you like organization anyway, David.
This is well organized because it has within the type of sign, it has the restrictions of size, things that we actually can regulate. So I think having that in there we're obviously things that we can't regulate any longer, but I think what we can is well defined and it's well spelled out.
Thank you.
Any other comments, David? So we've got one change right now.
There were several things that were prohibited: billboards, beacons, things like that. Mm-hmm. And then we also have a variance section, but it talks about hardships and things like that.
Where you at, Rick?
So the prohibited items are on sheet 9. I'm sure there's probably more in here, but that's where it talks about, balloons and inflatable devices, beacons, billboards, bulletin board. Well, just the billboards, not the bulletin boards. And so let's say we've got a new business opening, and they come to us and they want an inflatable or whatever. It's prohibited. Under a variance procedure, it talks about, I guess it says special. And so we could say a grand opening type thing is special, therefore we could grant a variance if we so chose. We don't have to, but we at least have that option. And so having a variance procedure is very important whenever you've got regulations, just so you can deal with those one-off situations where you might want to do something but don't want to open up Pandora's box. Right. Because just because you grant it one time, it doesn't lock you into have to granting it for anybody else.
I think that's a pat on the back.
Thank you.
On that same page, Megan, page 19, I think this might provide some clarity. Mm-hmm. Prohibited locations. we talk about prohibited sign types, and we go through all those 11. And then it talks about prohibited locations. I'm looking at item B.
Yes.
Can you, I guess, explain in your own words what your interpretation of that is?
Of E?
B.
Oh, of B. So, for example, if you had a business that closed down, or if you had a type of business that was no longer conducted in a store, but there was still a sign that advertised that business, like let's say a nail shop, right? But they no longer do nails; they only do hair. But the sign says nails. That would be an example.
Or a business that perhaps went out of business and had a wall sign.
Yes.
They would be required to take that wall sign down.
Yes, yeah. And or conversely, if they don't, then there are provisions that that appear later on that allows the city to remove those signs.
Okay.
We have right now a company that's closed down, but they just put up a new sign for the strip center or something and kept that company name in there, even though the company's not there anymore.
I also want to emphasize to you all, if it's something you want to talk about, I don't want to gloss over it. Electronic signs are also defined in here and regulated in here. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns about that, now's our chance to get that out as well.
Questions or comments on electronic signs?
I think what we left it last time is we wanted her to give us regulations, but council was still debating whether or not to allow electronic signs.
You want to open that box a little bit?
Sure. So there are electronic sign provisions.
Where?
Throughout. It's they just kind of reference changeable signs or the scrolling signs, the scrolling text signs. But we had visited last about maybe doing some more comprehensive look at some of the electronic sign ordinances. And so this just kind of touches on it. It doesn't go super duper in depth, but we had talked about maybe going more in depth. That is something that if you would like to see, that is something that can still be discussed after. You know, if you want to pass this part, you can just continue your discussions. We can also make that a part of the discussions now.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to emphasize is that in this draft ordinance, they're not prohibited, they're regulated. So I want to emphasize that to everybody.
In our existing ordinance for the large sign that we allowed Nissan to have, there's rules on how much time it could be changed. Mm-hmm. Can you point me where in here where it says they must give the city 10% of the time or whatever we came up with?
So,
I just want to make sure we don't strike that and lose.
You know, that's actually a good point. I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't know if I specifically addressed that one sign in here, but I can very much integrate that back in. It was unintentional to leave it out, but that's a very good. I know exactly what you're talking about because it's right on the frontage. Mm-hmm.
Because I definitely don't want to lose our advertising that we've got in there.
Yes.
So my understanding is this would replace completely the current ordinance. That would disappear. This would replace it.
So I think we're going to have to table this at least to get that language back in and not.
Yeah, we're not asking y'all to vote tonight. This is just once again review and then.
So Megan, I don't know what vehicle you use or what tool you'll have to do. We do want to protect that.
Yes, and I know exactly the language that we're talking about.
And then David, and yes, we're going to, ultimately the goal would be to repeal this out of your zoning ordinance and then go ahead and place this new one in the regular code book so that it's not a P&Z function. I want to submit to you guys that I did have a chance to talk to Sean earlier this week, and we talked about this. And for what it's worth, he's absolutely in support of this coming out of the zoning ordinance. He and I feel the same way. It's not necessarily a zoning function. And so this living in the regular code book is the goal here. The other thing I want to go back to is, David, you had mentioned earlier the sign that you saw down there kind of near Dairy Ashford. I think that would be more characterized as a community service sign as opposed to a whatever we said the other type sign was. And that is regulated separately on page 11 as far as off-premise. And there's also a height or an area limitation for that kind of sign as well. A community service sign would be more where you see nonprofits, community, social purposes, that kind of thing. And so those are there on number 8 on page 11. And we do see a lot of those come through as well.
Yeah, I'm fine keeping the restrictions 6 feet. I'm good keeping the 6-foot restriction on those.
Right.
I think the one I was looking at was kind of it's a pretty unique situation because it's our authorized sign for a special event and it's limited.
Well, I think we should probably get the staff, parks and everybody to look through here, all the limitations, and make sure that we're not going to bind ourselves to something we don't necessarily want to live with.
And is, just to kind of circle back, are electronic signs something that you want to see more of in here? Something that addresses them more directly? This is very much a smattering of regulation, not so much a direct.
Yeah, and the way I was reading this, the way I think you wrote it, the way I was reading this, again, they're allowed,
Right.
they're regulated.
Yes.
And so we would basically decide what kind of sign that electronic sign is, categorize it, and then regulate it, permit it, based on the section it's in. There are some illumination stuff in here as well, as far as how bright it can be. But I don't want to belabor the point, but they're allowed, which is a shift from what we had in the previous ordinance. So.
Yeah, when I read it, it looked like there was enough restrictions that if we want to change that, we've got the ability to size, height, brightness. There's quite a bit that we could control to maybe not eliminate them completely, but keep them from being a obnoxious
Well, a
blight on the city.
We don't do lumens or foot candles or any of that
Right.
stuff. I mean, the way it just says to such an intensity and such a
Yep.
manner as to cause a glare of brightness to a degree that it constitutes a hazard or a nuisance to traffic. And as you know, that's staff's favorite thing to do is figure out how bad it is to be in violation of the ordinance. But
Well, and I was going to say, I don't know. That's awful gray.
Yeah, I know.
And you're going to get a lot of pushback. There are regulations out there that give the brightness levels with electronic signs or LEDs. It doesn't really talk about lumens anymore most of the time.
Right.
I can't remember what the term is. But the Fort Bend County Toll Road Authority has some restrictions on these type of signs. If it's going to stay in there, I'd say let's pull kind of state of the industry and get some hard numbers in there so we don't have to fight about it.
Because what's offensive to me might not be offensive to you.
Right. And, what ended up over there at the rec center and having to adjust and adjust and adjust, we don't want to have to fight that fight with a private entity. We could control that one. And
so if we can maybe look at other, yeah.
Yes.
And that would be where it would live there is Article 6, Section D on page 22. We could plug that in right there.
Sure thing.
So we are passing this off to staff to review.
staff to review, and I think council, those that haven't gone in depth need to, just to make sure we understand what we're passing.
Yeah.
Oh, don't we have to pass it first to read it?
No,
No.
we are not the federal government.
So we'll make those couple of tweaks. We'll make those couple of tweaks, and provided
Yes.
that staff doesn't bring anything substantive or see anything that would just absolutely change it, we can go ahead and put this in for the August meeting for possible vote.
Because Rod's had, his department's had to put signs up before.
Sure.
And Rick keeps making them bigger and bigger. So we want to make sure that we don't have a...
Traffic signs are exempt from this ordinance.
That is correct.
Okay. Council, anything else? Megan, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Before we move on, I just wanted to say this is my last week with Grady's office, and I just wanted to thank you so much for being so gracious and having me here and working with me. It's been such a pleasure.
So you came out here and charged us money to be here and you're leaving?
Man, but I just wanted to say thank you so much. I really appreciate my time with y'all. I miss you guys.
You'll miss us.
Yes, I'll very much miss y'all, and I'll probably find you on Facebook.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we'll move on to item number 2. Discussion and consideration of an ordinance 2023-20, correcting the surface water fee back to $2.50 per 1,000 gallons of water. This is basically a housekeeping activity at this point.
Move to approve.
Motion by Rick to approve, second by David. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Guys, I'm having a little trouble with my eyes, so if I stumble a little bit, sorry. Discussion and consideration regarding ordinance 2023-21, authorizing and allowing under the act governing the Texas Municipal Retirement System updated service credits and cost of living adjustments and removing the maximum contribution rate limit. Courtney, you got any comment on that?
Yeah, council usually approves the 100% updated service credit, 70% cost of living. Again, we do this every year to keep our rate down. If we put it on a repeating, it's about a 20% rate versus the 13.9.
Never understood that.
Well, the difference is if you put it on the repeating, you don't have to do this every year, and there's a bunch of front-loaded costs, so it is more expensive short-term. But long-term, it is less expensive if you put it on repeating. But at this point, we're not recommending. I mean, it's easy enough just to do this once a year. If you're looking out 20 years, it is cheaper doing it that way, but we're just not structured right now to be able to eat that cost.
Move to approve.
Motion by Rex, second by, who is that, Tia? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 4, discussion consideration regarding resolution number 2023-14, accepting the 10/20-year write-off per Texas Property Tax Code 33.05, limitation on collection of Texas from Fort Bend County Tax Assessor Collector Carmen P. Turner. This is just writing stuff off. Is that correct?
Yes, it's a total of $593.83.
Move to approve.
Motion by David.
Second.
Second by Kurt. Any discussion? Motion carries unanimously. We're running how much? $5 a night?
Did we vote on that one?
There was no actual vote there.
I
All
thought
in
I said
favor?
All in favor. Did I not? Oh, that was the one before that. Sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Good catch.
No, you just said approved unanimously. Moved on.
Oh, there you go. And I was right. I was prophesying. So now I've got myself confused. I'm back over to item 5. Discussion and consideration of ordinance 2023-22, amending the general fund budget for fiscal year ending September 30, 2023 by increasing line item 100605800 parks capital improvements, $60,000 from general fund balance for the purchase of a new tractor for parks and recreation. Tractor is broke, We're having to rent one right now. We've always got need for a tractor.
So we approved this at the last session. This is just doing the accounting part of it.
The approval was up to 60,000, and so this is housekeeping to actually
Okay.
reflect
Make
the whole
a
budget.
motion to approve. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve moving it to the line item. Second by Tia. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 6, ordinance amending city's general fund budget, $30,000 for Century Park equipment in McDonald Park. This increases to recognize the capital improvements expense for the Parks project. This is discussion consideration of ordinance number 2023-23, amending the general fund budget for fiscal year, increasing line item in parks capital improvements $30,000. Do we want to spend this money?
Move to approve.
Motion by Kurt to approve, second by Tia. Any further discussion? We've got a parks director here to ask questions of. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Now that it's passed, I can say this. I thought that was the stupidest thing. Century Park, what that's just, boy, did I not have a clue. I did not have a clue.
They're amazing.
Man, that is something. Those kids get out and they just, I mean, it's just wonderful. So I'm glad it wasn't me making the decision. Item number 7, discussion consideration ordinance number 2023-24, amending general fund revenue budget for fiscal year ending September 30, 2023, increasing line item 100495005 grant revenue. This is for police uniforms of the amount of $46,185 awarded from the Department of Homeland Security Grant Shield. This is basically accepting the Department of Homeland Security's grant.
I move to accept the grant.
Second.
Motion. Who seconded?
second.
David? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Y'all get to keep them, Chief.
We got one more to do, and then they
Yeah.
get the
Okay.
accounting part of it.
Item 8, discussion and consideration of ordinance 2023-25, amending the general fund budget for fiscal year ending September 30, 2023, increasing line item 100-050-533-505 for grant-funded uniforms in the amount of $46,185 from the general fund balance for the purchase of ballistic shields.
I move to spend the grant.
Okay, motion to spend the
Second.
grant. Second by Rick, second by
David.
David. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, this is discussion, item 9 is discussion consideration of ordinance 2023-26, amending the general fund budget, revenue budget for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2023, increasing line item 100-498-010 other revenue sources. This is to the amount of $197,476 awarded Fort Bend County ARPA funding for the purchase of generators at the EOC and Water Well 3. We're asking for an adjustment here to increase our revenue based on the receipt of ARPA. Any questions? Okay, Tia made a motion.
Second.
Second by Kurt. Any further discussion?
Just what are we doing here? This is the actual money received back from.
No, we're just amending the revenues line item on the budget to increase it by this amount.
Well, so we didn't increase it by the 645 already?
No.
Okay.
We have it in the savings account, but this is actually increasing your revenue on that other revenue sources line item. so that when it's time to spend it, we can spend it.
So we got that 197 to spend.
Right. We have the money. It's just what we're doing
In
is
the
we're
wrong spot.
So this is papering up the money that's been
And
received.
number 10 is the second part.
correct. We're actually populating the revenue line item with this amount.
Okay. We had a motion and a second, did we not?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Consider it papered up unanimously. Item 10. This is discussion consideration of ordinance 2023-27, amending the general fund budget for fiscal year ending September 30, 2023, increasing line item 100-040-58000, Public Works capital outlay, $197,000 from the general fund budget for the balance of the purchase of generators at the EOC Training Center Well 1.
I move to spend the grant money.
Okay, got a
Second
motion.
that.
Who seconded? Kurt? Motion by Rick, second by Kurt. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. I can't believe I just jumped ahead that time. Okay, item number 11. Discussion and consideration of ordinance number 2023-28, amending the utility fund budget for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2023, and increasing line item 300-046-567-000, maintenance and repairs, $337,155 from the utility fund reserves for water well number 1 repairs. And we recommended approving that budget amendment.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by David. Do I have a second down at the other side? Second by Tia, thank you.
I have one question.
Any
What's
discussion?
the balance, do we know? And that we don't have, you can get back to me, but the utility fund reserve, what's the
David?
balance after taking that?
I'm going to have to ask you to build this down.
Oh, I thought there we go. Question is, utility reserve fund, I think we have a couple more just from what Cameron showed us earlier on all the different fund spending we've had for utilities. I'm just wondering after this well water 1 what the balance of utility fund is.
I do not know.
Yeah, if you look at, we actually have, incidentally, on our consent agenda, we have our quarterly investment report.
Oh,
and that'll
handy.
give you your fund balance on utility. You might remember that we had that goal to keep, 10 months. It's going to bring you much less than that.
So down to 4, maybe 3 or 4 months.
So, if you look at,
It takes us.
what page is that?
The reason I'm asking, this may be germane when we get to our public hearing and talk about why we need additional infrastructure fund. I think this is a place where, hey, we had a reserve. We just spent the reserve in one season. We've gone through $865,000, and if we don't build that reserve back up, we're going to be in
Possibly
possible tough times ahead. So that's why I'm asking. It's
Yeah,
not,
and in that next meeting, we can definitely give a picture of sort of what we actually have versus what we want to have in terms of our rainy day fund, and we'll reflect this expenditure in that. It's in here.
I know it is. I saw it
Yeah.
yesterday.
Scrambling to find it, but it's in here.
David, it's in there.
okay.
Well, I think it's on page 7 of one of these handouts, and
It's got the months on it. It's like
6.8 months
6.8
reserves.
That's it right there.
7 months.
Yeah, he's got it.
And so June 30th, total currently 2.9. And so we're probably down to 2.6 million.
Yeah.
Knowing we've got 2 more to pay out of it. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any further questions or discussion?
I was going to let Charlie sweat, not give him a motion.
It's already there. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, let's go on to item number 12, which is ordinance calling public hearing for municipal budget for 2022-23. Is that right?
Should be 23, 24.
Yeah.
It's correct on your agenda.
Oh, it's on wrong on here, okay. Discussion, consideration, ordinance 2023, setting the 15th day of August, 2023 at 6:30 PM at Meadows Place City Hall, 1 Troyan Drive, Meadows Place, Texas, as the date, time, and place for a public hearing on the proposed municipal budget for fiscal year 2023-24. A motion to approve the ordinance 2023-29, set August 15th as a meeting date.
So moved.
Motion by Rick, second by Tia. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll see you on the 15th of August. We've already done item 13, so let's move on to the consent agenda. I do have one thing. I spent some time with Maria going over these quarterly reports and financial investment. If you haven't, take a peek at them. I think you'll find them interesting. So, do I have a motion to pass the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Kurt, second by somebody down here, Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous.
Council, real quick, I'm sensitive to the fact that we had a lot of budget amendments on this meeting. That's just kind of the way we're doing it right now. There's more than one way to approve budget amendments. If you guys wanted to do them all as a part of consent agenda, for example, we could do that, but it's y'all's call. Just right now, we don't feel good about lumping everything into consent, so we're itemizing these things out as action items. Maybe in the future we can talk about that. Different cities do it different ways. Sometimes they lump it all into one action item, but I just wanted to let you guys know that we don't have to do it this way, but we can do it this way. So
I would be fine with items under 10,000, some limit, but these were big items.
Yes. Thank you, Rick. I concur. Anyway, so where were we? Did we pass consent? Yes. Now we're on. Okay. Everybody settle down. We're moving to item G. Audience comments. Would anybody like to stand up? Audience members? Okay. Moving on to item H. Unless there's an objection, we are adjourned.